happy weekend. So it was my birthday yesterday. Just saying, I am now 29 years old. I need to stop saying that before I have an existential crisis. But today's video is not about my existential crisis and old age. It is about Loki again. I am a film graduate and I have been looking at the scenes of the first episode of Loki, and I've been finding the ones that I appreciate as a film graduate, but also some that I didn't really like and maybe would have changed, and just they weren't my cup of tea. So shall we get into the video? Firstly though, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps, and comment anything you want to comment down below. Tell me some of your favourite and not so favourite scenes in the first or second episodes, and please subscribe if you are a Marvel fan or a film fan, because I have a feeling once Loki is over, I probably will be looking at different films until the next Marvel thing comes out. Or I might even just go back to some of the films. We don't know. We'll wait and see. Let me know what you want in the comments. And turn on notifications, because I am currently posting videos several times a week and you don't want to miss them. So we get on with the video. Let's go. First scene that I want to talk about is this one. This is straight after the New York scene, the opening to the series, and I just appreciated it. I thought it was really nice, and also looking back at this scene and the droplet of water and the bug going across the scene, I now feel like this may be a representation and a metaphor for Loki, because a droplet of water, it's going to fall at any time, it will dry up and won't be around for so long, and we all know that Loki in the MCU is not around anymore. And so this droplet of water is delicate, and Loki, even though he likes to come across as this collected and mischievous god figure, and he knows what he's doing, but really he doesn't, does he? He's quite delicate, and in terms of the TVA and the timekeepers, he is a bug compared to them. Their power is far greater than his, and he can be squished at any moment if they so choose it. So I just feel like this scene represents him and the series as a whole as we go through it. And then the next one I have picked out is straight after it, when we have a wide shot of the desert. I didn't pick this in any real particular reason other than the fact that I really like it. It's a really nice scene. But also, when we see Loki coming through the portal, he's so small compared to this vast desert scene. So again, he's just not very important, unfortunately, even though he is to us. But he's not very important, and he is small compared to the rest of the universe, even if he doesn't like to think it himself. And by the end of this episode, I feel like he realizes how small he actually is compared to everything else going around him. Also, these scenes at the beginning of the episode compared to the rest of the episode are very clear and very pristine. And then when we go into the TVA, everything gets very grey, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. But before that, I want to just say, when we first meet the TVA, and when Loki first meets the TVA, the Tesseract is just at their feet. It is not important, and it shows how unimportant it is, and the fact that it's not powerful at all in the TVA, as we see later on in the episode. It is literally at their feet, and they do not care one bit about it, and the fact that Loki's got it. And I just wanted to talk about this scene because obviously this is now an iconic scene, and I actually watched a interview with Tom Hiddleston about how he actually did it. So they have a special camera that shoots in a very, very slow motion, and it has a very like slow frame rate, and he actually just blew raspberries in it. He just continuously like blew raspberries, and so that made his mouth move the way it did. I just thought that was funny and clever too, and how they actually shot it with the special camera and everything. I find those interesting, obviously, as a film student. When we go from the desert, which is really pristine and a clear shot, we go into the TVA and everything's so gritty and kind of reminds me of like a 80s sitcom where the frame rate wouldn't have been as good and the qualities of the cameras and everything, and that's just what it reminds me of. Obviously the aesthetic is obviously like that too, but this scene, I don't like these kind of scenes where you have a light behind the actors and this camera in front of them. I don't really like it unless it's really obviously why they've done it, so like suspenseful, or you're hiding the person, so you want to create a shadow. And I feel like they were trying to create that shadow, but there was too many lights going on, so yeah, I just found this quite, I don't know, it's just too gritty and you can't see it very clearly. And like I said, I don't like it when you have the lights behind the axes unless it's for a specific purpose. And I just, for Marvel, I'm like, you can do a bit better than that. I'm just saying. And then we have it so they go through the doorway and we see their feet first and they work up and the doorway opens to this like lobby area, and that's like we are being open to this new world and Loki's being open to this new world. And so when the camera just kind of, slowly opens and we now see, oh, we're in a completely different place and we're now going to be, transported into a different world. And I liked it, but again, this whole like sequence here is just too like dark and gritty for me compared to like the one coming up and the one before it. I guess because we're all in the dark, but it's not, I'm not a fan of that. And then when we come into the lobby and the camera angle changes, so we're behind the actors and now we're in front of the actors, and there's a lot of work with camera angles in this series, and you can tell that Loki's not, again, that much of a threat here. He's really not. So the character of Hunter B15, here, she is looking down at Loki and we're looking up at her. So she's clearly more powerful than him in this moment. And there's a lot of scenes, especially in this episode, where Loki is looking up, or we're looking up at the different characters, and it just shows that they're important and they're powerful and Loki isn't. And also this exchange where we go from long shot to close up to the characters and then a long shot again is, I feel like, more for comedic value. I think that makes it funnier in this shot where he's running, trying to get away, and she's pulling him back. They're not speaking, just the exchange of the facial expressions, I think, is a clever way to show their relationship forming. So he, she's already not a fan of him. And then this shot is quite interesting. When we first meet Casey, he's at the desk, and we have the symbol, the like logo of the Time Variance Authority behind him, and with those eyes, they're watching. The timekeepers and the TVA are constantly watching, and this is a recurring theme throughout the first episode, and I'm gonna touch on it a bit more. But yeah, so it's behind his shoulder, blurred out a bit, but you can see the eyes so clearly, and they're constantly watching everything. And then we move on to the elevator scene, and it's very claustrophobic to begin with, and that is showing how Loki is currently feeling. He's trapped, he's can't see a way out. He doesn't know what's happening. He's confused, and we're seeing him from a like fly on the wall angle. So again, it's kind of like, imagine a CCTV camera watching him. Somebody's watching him. We don't really know who this somebody is, but he's being watched this entire time. So when he's in the elevator and the robot undresses him and throws him away, and so he's being watched, and he's very claustrophobic, and it's dark because he's in the dark. He doesn't know what's happening. There's also a cat. Just gonna sit here and look at the cat. There's a cat. And again, he is being watched. So we are now in the perspective of the receptionist, and he's being watched by everyone, including the receptionist. And again, it's that claustrophobia. Really cluttered environment. Everything is kind of closing in on him, and it's very dark. And there is the cup with the cat on. I appreciate that. But I'm going to touch on this again in a bit when we go through it. But if you look at the clock, the hands, there's several different hands on this clock. So obviously time is very different here. And we see that already by the clock on the wall. And then we have the close-up of what? Like, what is happening? What is going on? That's everyone said when they announced a Loki series. We were just like, what? When Loki escaped in Endgame, what? What the heck is happening? Isn't he unalived? What? So, yeah, that's a recurring question throughout the series, I feel, is what we're going to be asking ourselves, as well as the characters. Also, that guy's playing solitaire. I just didn't realise that to begin with, because obviously when you're watching it, you don't look at the shots, you look at the whole thing and you're just enjoying it. But that guy is playing solitaire. Somebody, needs to, like in Avengers, the first Avengers, when Tony Stark sees the guy playing Galactica, should be working. And again, we are here with the claustrophobia and everything closing in, and Loki is now even more closed in because he really doesn't know what's happening. And this is when he questions his identity and questions, is he actually a robot? He's clearly not a robot. But he doesn't know, because it says you don't know if you're a robot until you get shown. So he is again being really closed in, really claustrophobic, and just everything's moving so quickly. And so he's just confused. I think this is a clever shot, especially the angle as well. Even though I don't know why they've done this with the entire episode, and I'm gonna look at episode 2 in a bit, but the entire thing, nearly the entire thing, is shot at a little bit of an angle, so we're all constantly below them, all the characters, most of the time. And I don't know about you, but I don't know. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Yeah. I understand, like, when you do that, you get more in the shot, so that might be why they've done it, but I don't know. What do you think? And again, he is being watched. So again, we have like the CCTV camera angle, that the fly on the wall angle, and he's constantly being watched. And now it's from behind as well, so they're watching from all angles. Whoever they are, I feel the timekeepers. Just saying. And then we come out of the escalator and into this waiting room, and this is where we see the grittiness of the show and the grain. If we go back to the beginning, where it's, like I said, it's really pristine and clear, and now it's gritty and dark, dim, and that's for the entirety of when they're in the TVA. When they're out of the TVA, it's not as gritty, but when they're in the TVA, it is very dim and gritty and grainy, and it's reminds me of those 70s, 80s sitcoms, TV shows, and kind of like the like detective shows, police shows, really gritty. But also, if you look over to the left hand side, there is the watching eye, watching, constantly watching. But yes, he is being watched. Everyone is being watched, and this eye just clarifies it even more. But there's a very, very, very obvious poster coming up that just clarifies it completely. And then if you look again into the left hand corner, behind the one of like the receptionist, the eye is there again. So again, watching from all angles. But this scene is not, for me, a great one because it is so murky. Like, it's very, very grainy and you barely see anything. And I think it's the lighting. There's too much lighting. But I know that's kind of how they were going, the aesthetic they were going with. But for me, it's way too murky, that is. And then we have another poster. So again, on the left hand side, in the little office area, we have 0 tolerance. And I don't know about you, but it's a bit sus. And again, we have the clock. So we see the clock still very kind of, you don't really see it very well, but we see the clock and there are several hands going all over the place. Not like a regular clock, which, you know, has 2 or 3. So this has like several different hands. And I think I'm going to leave this video here. I am going to do a part 2 video, which will come out tomorrow. And I'll be looking more into some more scenes of Loki, episode 1. Thank you for watching this video. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. And please subscribe. So, that should be the other way around. Subscribe and then turn on notifications. So you don't miss my next video looking at more scenes of Loki and really going through it critically and looking at where Marvel have gone right and where they've gone not so right. I don't want to say wrong because, you know, everyone has their opinions. Comment anything you want to comment down below and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.